Going on, everybody? Yes, another first Descendant video. No, it is not about the gameplay from the closed beta. I was not included in that. I was told that I'm not a big enough streamer. I don't have enough active hours. I get that, but whole different story. This is to discuss two things. They still haven't announced if you're in the beta or not on Steam. It's not available on any other platforms. And two, to go over the characters, which they've given more information on now that they have, and have decided they're moving off of Steam for all their information and going to an actual website. They have stood up their own website. The link to it will be in the description below. It will give you information on the trailers. There's a new one out. I'm not going to play that one. They got a new how to install it on Steam, everything else, the official website, all this other stuff. But what's catching my story or my eye here is the characters. Okay, so we're going to have 10 characters. Previously, there was 7 defined characters. Well, 6 defined, 3 hinted at, and then we now have a 10th one, an ultimate Lepic, which gives me some inclination that we're going to have ultimate versions of every class. Don't know. But I wanted to go quickly touch upon each class. There's plenty of gameplay videos out there. I chatted briefly with another content creator this morning named Abontis. I'll link his video review for he was in the closed beta. And there are a couple others. Moxie did a great job. Eric's Gaming did a pretty good job of coverage. But since it's their gameplay, I'll link to that. Because I didn't get to play, I'm not going to speak on gameplay that I didn't get to experience firsthand. I do want to cover the characters a little bit more in detail, so let's get into that before this video gets too long. Also, if you find this information helpful, I play multiple games and talk a lot about technology. I'm doing 490 coverage and RTX coverage, gaming security coverage, and plethora of other games. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment below, let me know what you're in, what you have questions about. I'd be more than happy to discuss it, and if I don't know about it, I will go find out about it. But anyways, enough with the spiel. Let's talk about Lepic first. He's an all-around jack of all trades, I guess you could say. They define him. They've done a better job of defining the roles of their characters now, by the way. And I think all the classes look fantastic. Probably microtransactions in the store and everything. You will be able to change the character's appearance, would be my guess. That's one of the most, one of the easiest ways to make money, especially since it's a free-to-play. How far those microtransactions go, we do not know. Not going to focus on that in this particular video. But Lepic, and before we do this, in order to unlock the characters, you have a couple that, my understanding, that you start with. And then in order to unlock more and more characters, you gather materials, you do activities, and then you research the class or the character that you want to unlock. And then you unlock them, and then you start leveling them up. Each character has levels. The more higher the level, the more defense, the more HP, the more offense or attack, power, all this other things and runes and levels and everything that go with it. But we're just going to talk about the ones. So Lepic, again, AoE, dealer, jack of all trades. He likes war quite a bit, is his backstory. We're not going to go into their stories in this. His right arm is mechanical. It shoots out grenades, and he has the ability with those grenades to do a lot of AoE damage as well as pull combatants in. So we're going to talk about down here, it lists their skill sets. Passive skill, 9 lives. There's a chance of surviving fatal damage during battle. So survivability, D20 roll. Yeah, I survived. Then he has a grenade, throws grenades forward at the enemies. He has an ability here called Power Stream, increases skill attack and adds burn effects to grenade and arm launcher for set duration. So while you activate this Power Stream, they're going to be skill combos. If you have Power Stream active and then you toss a grenade, it's going to do extra burn and power, while the Power Stream, again, is active. It's going to do more damage. You also have Traction Grenade, throws a grenade that pulls enemies towards within the range, groups them all together for you, so you might be able to do another grenade that does stuff. You can use your weapons. Somebody else in your team can use a launcher, whatever, and nuke them down, okay? Then you have Arm Launcher. That's his arm. Fires a powerful shell at an enemy. This shell is maintained at the landing point, so wherever the point of impact is, that's where it's going to do its damage over time, and not only initial damage, but the damage over time. So there you go. That's Lepic. He's one of my top 5 that I'm going to play. Ajax is the first one I'm going to unlock. However, Ajax, I'm going to be 100% real Reminds me a lot of a Titan bubble, void bubble, from Destiny 2 for some of his stuff and verbiage. Just saying. But they define Ajax as a tank in this game. He came back alive from the void. A void could be different from what we have in Titans. The void ability that gives the bubble. I'm going to just say it's different in this place. Whatever. Barriers, protections, and you're going to see and understand why I say he's like a Titan bubble. A bubble Titan. Ability to storing passive is Void Vault. He stores void energy during combat. Moving around, taking hits, all this stuff builds up his energy. He has a reversed door, aka tower barricade. Creates a shield in front of him and his team that can, and it's potentially stronger based on his HP and his defense. And it gets reflected through proportion. It reflects the damage back based on the defense. So you can shoot through it and it protects your party. So think about it that way. Sound familiar? We won't go there. Void Walker, leap into the air, jump down on the ground, smash, Hulk smash. We're good to go. If enhanced, max shield increases for a certain period of time. So the ground nearby enemies is stunning them, and I'm guessing you get a shield because they're saying if enhanced, max shield increases for a certain amount of time. You're going to hit the ground, it's going to create your shield, your personal shields, for a steady amount of time. Expulsion strikes nearby enemies. I'm not sure what the graphic for this one is. I watched a lot of gameplay, but I'm not sure what it is. I'm assuming it's like a thunderclapper or something where they're doing some sort of pushback and knocking them down. Probably a frontal attack. And if enhanced, knockback range and max shield are increased. Hypercube, this is, I wish they, instead of calling it a dome-shaped shield, I would have called like a hex something to keep it more cubular. But this is essentially a Titan bubble. And it's based off of his HP and defense. If enhanced, reflects damage in proportion to defense. So, Ajax, tank dealer, I'm looking forward to him. Just a lot of similarities to a bubble Titan from D2 in my book. But playstyle looks a lot different. So remember, these abilities they have different weapons. We haven't seen anything for armor-wise, and their stuff changes a little bit with ruins, okay? Vesa is an ice mage for all practical purpose. Vesa is a debuffer and an ice mage. Crowd control, slows people down, does damage with ice, things like that. But she uses little devices, those turret things that we saw right there on the screen right here by the A. It's not a ghost, it's a turret. It helps her with ice. She mobilizes enemy with cold air and occasionally freezes them up going around the battlefield. Her passive skill is Ice Sphere. Again, that pulls moisture out of the atmosphere, condenses it around her, circulating and lowering the temperatures. So she's cool. Emma Frost, maybe. She has an ice beam, fires an explosion. I believe it comes out of her hand, inflicting damage in area around the enemies. And Ice Shackle. Ice Shackle is a debuff. It slows them down, may do damage. I'm not 100% sure, but it either freezes them in place or slows them down. I'm not 100% sure how that works. Won't know till I play the game. Again, Ice Shackle effect increases by 2 stages when hit, and increased by 1 stage if hit by exploding area. Again, game mechanics I'm not familiar with yet. Hopefully I get into the beta, which is from the 20th to the 26th, only on Steam. Frost Fog, increasing running speed and shield. So she's running around. It gives her faster movement speed, gives her a shield, and creates ice sheets on the ground. If the enemies that are chasing her or moving around with her and everything else step on those ice shields, they get inflicted with the Ice Shackle. Again, how the shackle works, I'm not 100% sure. It sounds like a debuff, a slow mechanic or something. It may root somebody in place. Ice Wave increases an arc hold in front of them, so a cone effect in front of them, inflicting damage, as well as the slowing debuff or the shackle debuff. That maybe immobilize them or make you able to get away around her. Blizzard, that's their main effect. Think like stasis, essentially just a huge sphere of ice and snow and all this stuff all condensed into a certain area around the enemies, inflicts damage, slows them down, and all this stuff, and can stack if you have enhancements. Ice Mage. J-Bear, technical guy with turrets. He has a damage or an assault turret, and he has a healing turret. So he's a utility person. I see him being pretty valuable in 4-man raids since he does provide healing. So we'll go over that real quick. He has passive turret sync. Attack increases when assault turret and medical turret are both out. So that means if he has 2 turrets, one's for damage, one's for recovery and healing. He has both of those out. His attack goes up, meaning not only is his weapon damage, but the turrets do more. I think and I believe that the assault turret does more attack damage, and I don't know if the medical will do more healing. I'm not sure on that one. Assault turret summons an assault turret to attack the enemy. If enhanced, launches attacks into nearby enemies. And these aren't just planted in the ground. They have some animation and movement to them. The medical turret just does what it says. You summon it, and it heals you and the allies and distracts enemies. So if it enhanced, it restores mana, and that enhancement comes from multi-purpose gun. When you use this to change your gun into multi-purpose gun. If hit by multi-purpose gun, the turret, so you're going to change gun into multi-purpose, and I'm assuming shoot your turrets. It enhances them, puts them in enhanced state, which means they do more damage, more healing, or helps provide mana back, right? Ultimate ability, Total Recall. If you have both of your turrets out, you hit Total Recall, summons the turrets back, causes them to do damage to the things around them, and then puts you into a Total Recall. After using Total Recall, puts you in an overhaul state where you resummon the turrets, and those turrets are automatically summoned in their enhanced states, so you don't have to use the multi-purpose gun to do that. I will probably level him as my 4th or 5th character for unlock because I have a feeling he'll be valuable in endgame. Sharon is the electric close range assassin. She moves decently speed. She can go invisible. She has camouflage. When she gets camouflage, she comes into an ambush state. Coming out of camouflage does damage, and that can reactivate. So her passive skill is Assassinator. Damage increases when attacking an enemy that is not attacking Sharon. So it means she sneaks up on him with her camouflage, backstabs or whatever else, killing enemies with the ambush state, resets the cooldown for her camouflage. She can use it more often and reset that. Cutoff beam attacks an enemy with electric blade to deal damage and inflict them with electrocute effect. I'm thinking like a long sword made out of electricity that she's using, or a short sword to do damage because it says close range damage. I'm intrigued by her close range combat melee abilities. I want to see more. Again, got to get into the beta to do that. Active camouflage hides from the enemies when attacking or using skills. Active camouflage state ends immediately, regardless of how much time you have remaining on it. It's just like in the Hunters in D2. You go invis if you do a weapon shot or you do something else, takes you out of invis. When active camouflage state ends, Sharon enters into ambush mode, increasing damage of the next attack. So she can sneak up on somebody and damage them and does more damage. Or if she comes out of camouflage, when the timer runs out, she's still going to go to ambush mode and do more damage on the next attack. That's my understanding. Shock nuts. Don't laugh. My wife did. It's okay. Launches built-in explosives forward from the arm to attack and stun enemies. So forward attack with stun and electrical, some sort of, my guess is how that works. My guess is like throwing marbles or something on the ground and they put out electricity. I'm thinking it kind of reminded me of Black Widow from Iron Man when they were Iron Man 2. Yeah, Iron Man 2. When they went in to get what's his face and the cockatoo thing. But that's that. And then her ultimate ability is lights out, targets enemies within an aiming range and throws multiple knives, attack them. These knives explode and inflict enemies with damage and electrocute effects. So probably daisy chains and everything else, given how electricity works. So I'm interested in playing Sharon, but I think I'm going to play Bunny more than Sharon. And we'll get to Bunny in a minute. Glade is the second one. And so far I want to play Ajax, then Glade, then Lepic, then J-Bear, and then probably Bunny, and then probably Sharon. We're getting there. Glade is the vampire, and everyone does that because of this ability here called Nosferatu. We'll get that in a second. She's utilitarian. She has both long range and up close kind of capabilities with a skill called Berserk. So passive skill, Death Sensor, defeat enemies, drops life spheres, obtaining life spheres restores health, and adds a stack of power of life. Now the runes, my understanding, the higher in level you get, the better your runes get, the more enhancements you can do with those, and the more the power of life stack can be, which keeps her alive longer while she's using the abilities, because as she uses her abilities, she's actually siphoning off her life force. So that's my understanding. Death Sensor is essentially just how she keeps alive. Berserk, this is the mode that she goes into at the cost of her HP. Berserk mode, it gives long distance weapons attack and penetration is increased. So sniper kind of stuff, I think that is beneficial for sniper, but it's kind of confusing at the same time, because in order to get these orbs back, she has to go pick them up. So how long those orbs are out, if they're permanent, it makes it easy. If there's a timer on it, it might make it a little more sensitive. Life extraction deals damage to nearby enemies. Again, not what you were expecting with Berserk mode, long distance weapons attack, snipers and stuff attack, because again, it's close, nearby enemies, and restores HP. In Berserk mode, damage increases. So of course, when you're like just going ape, of course you're going to do more damage. Normal mode, damage inflicted by enemies decreases for a certain period of time. So you do more damage in Berserk mode. You do more damage with life extraction, but you probably take more damage. I don't know. In regular mode without Berserk active, you're going to take you'll take less damage, or damage is decreased. Or wait, yeah, damage by enemies is decreased. And then you have Requiem, creates an area with a specific effect. In Berserk mode, bullets are not consumed within your, so you create a Requiem, your ammo does not go down. If you're in normal mode, not Berserk mode, HP is restored while you're in there, so you can try to heal yourself. So self-healing. You got the turret guy, J-Bear, and her, the only two that I know that have healing. Nosferatu, switches gun to Nosferatu. In Berserk mode, skill damage increases, so the skills and stuff that you use do more damage. In normal mode, it stuns enemies. Keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm interested, and she'll probably play the second one, and if I can play, will be her. Then there's Blair. He's last on my list, to be absolutely honest. He's a pyromancer. He reminds me a lot of Outriders with the pyromancer, and everything else is damage over time. He shoots out flames, puts little, they call them stoves, puts these stoves out on the field. It's just a pillar of fire. You get in and out of it. But the passive skill, flame manipulation, critical hit damage, increases with attacking enemies in burn state. When attacking enemies in his burn state, I'm not sure what the burn state is. Critical hit damage increases depending on the number of stoves on the battlefield. Again, his abilities creates the stoves or the things of fire on the ground. It spurts fire to deal damage. Stove on spurts damage or flames to deal damage to nearby enemies and creates a stove. With the point, I guess, stoves inflict constant damage and burn effects to nearby enemies. I'm guessing it's just like a puddle of fire or something on the ground with a central point to it, and that's what they're calling a stove. Then you have stove off, retrieves the stoves, pull the stoves back to you, restores your mana, gives you a chance to get your defense up and do some recovery. You might need some HP or something for a short period of time. That would be what I'm thinking about, or combat over maybe. He has Flame Bee, spurts flame forward. Again, frontal attack. It seems all of them have a frontal attack. Enemies near the flames arrival point are inflicted with constant burn damage, damage and burn effect. Okay, that's fine. You're going to kick damage in there, of course, the initial damage, and they're going to burn, catch on fire. You get it. Chef's Star, this is the ultimate mode. Throw a large fireball forward. So again, frontal. This fireball splits into smaller fireballs, causing extra explosions. The explosion damage inflicts burn effect and creates a stove on the ground. Stove deals constant damage to nearby enemies, inflicts them with the burn effect, and they run around. They're still going to take damage because they're on fire. Again, this is going to be the last one I'm interested in unlocking. Doesn't mean that I don't like it. It's just, it intrigues me in my playstyle the least. Bunny is by far the fastest person. They label her as a nuker. She uses and manipulates electricity to haul butt and move around. So I think of her instead of like a close range assassin like Sharon is. She's more mid-range-ish, more like a ranger or something along those lines. Charges up electricity by moving around, meaning as she moves, it generates electricity and she stores it up. By the way, it's kind of like when you're rubbing your feet on the carpet, walk up to your wife and then zap her in the cheek. Don't recommend it. Don't do it. changes electricity, again, moving around and all this other stuff. So she moves to build up her abilities, which makes sense. It's called Dynamo. That's her passive skill. The next one is Electro Orb. Summons an electric orb to attack nearby enemies, inflict them with electrocute effect. Think a little electrical orb. Reminds me of Warlock arc build, kind of, maybe. But it sends out electrical shocks and everything else. Then you have Joyride. While she's in Joyride mode, she is sprinting extremely fast. It gets you from point A to point B really, really fast. You can't do any DPS or damage, to my understanding, while you're doing Joyride because you're moving around. But that Joyride, you're moving so fast, you're really restoring your electric pool and reserves. However, if you use Pulsar first, which stacks with Joyride, you turn on Pulsar because you have the stuff built up, moving around deals damage to nearby enemies, inflicts them with Electrocute. Turn that on and then turn on Joyride. You're going to do pulsing electrical damage that is going to recharge or last longer because you have that. I'm not 100% sure, but I need to play the game to find out sure. But she intrigues me, and again, as I said before, I'll play Bunny before Sharon, if possible. Circuit Breaker shoots out electricity forward to inflict damage. Damage increases proportion to the skill duration. So there's things in runes and stuff, and as you level up, you get those skill durations last longer. I'm thinking Star Wars, the Emperor shooting electricity out. How much damage? I have no idea. We'll have to find out in the game beta. There's Freyna. She's the DOT poison dealer. She apparently survived a poisonous terrorist attack, and that caused her to have her abilities of poison. She handles poison like plague to slowly bring down enemies. Her passive is unauthorized bullet. Damage increases when attacking enemies poisoned by Freyna's skill. So she poisons them first. This means they're going to take more damage from guns. If that means just hers, I'm not sure, but I would assume it'd be anyone in her party will be able to do more damage if she's debuffed them with poison. That's her passive skill. Next, we have Venom Baptism, throws poison attack at target enemy with damage and inflicts room 0 trauma onto nearby enemies. I'm not sure 100% what room 0 trauma is. I'm assuming it's some form of poison. It's going to do damage. Then you have Defense Mechanism. This is where she uses the skill to basically surround herself with a wall of poison, like an overshield, raising her defense up. If the enemies come and attack her, it has a chance of putting a room 0 trauma effect or a poison stack on them. I'm thinking a room 0 trauma is a poison debuff. Then you have Decomposition Poison. You're putting a puddle of poison on the ground. The enemies go through it. They get inflicted. They get constant damage if they're standing in it. They get also another one where they get poison footprint. So, I mean, if they run into the poison, they get poisoned. They get a DOT. If they leave it, they get poison footprint. So they're still taking damage, but they're spreading the poison to other places. So if other enemies walk through that poison footprint, they're going to take damage as well. That's a pretty kind of cool effect. And then you have Dead Room, switches gun to Dead Room, hits by Dead Room are inflicted with, I'm guessing it inflicts some sort of, kind of reminded me of Outriders, that turns your gun into like a poison gun. So you're not only doing kinetic damage or weapon damage, but you're also doing poison damage from the weapon. That's my understanding of it. I could be wrong. She does intrigue me. Again, probably not my top 5. I'll go over the top 5 that I want to do here in a moment. Then you have Ultimate Lepic. It's just a stronger, bigger, badder version of the original Lepic. I'm assuming that as you progress through the game, you unlock the ultimate versions of all the characters that you're playing, and that's what it's hinting at to give us an idea of what we have. All the skills are the same, they're just enhanced. So that said, not so the video doesn't go too long, those are the characters in general. Let me know which one you're going to play. I'm going to try and start with Ajax, then move to Glade, then to Lepic, probably, then Bunny, then Jaber, because I know Jaber is going to probably be really key in some endgame content, although if you do level him up first and you have the strongest one, you're going to be stuck as a healing unit and utility unit in those 4-man endgame raids. So those are the first 5, and then I'll probably do Sharon, then Vesa, and then Blair will be last, and then however ultimates get unlocked, we'll find out. Again, if you want to see gameplay footage from the closed beta, I was not in that. I do have some friends that were and some other content creators that I followed, and I trust their opinions. I will link their stuff below. This will be linked below. Steam beta, they haven't announced who's in it yet. And it's this beta on the 20th is only for Steam. It's not anything else. They will be releasing the game on Steam, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, as well as Xbox One. Please let me know what you think. I have no idea on the microtransactions of this thus far. There's a lot of gameplay that reminds me of Warframe. I do hope that they go with a Warframe type microtransaction system. It seems most fair since the devs have come out and said that they don't want to go with the pay to win in your face kind of approach. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, let me know in the comments below what you plan to play, which character. And as always, if you found it useful, please hit that sub button, hit the thumbs up. You know the drill. It really would go a long ways and be greatly appreciated by me. I'm doing my best to try. I set a goal to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year so I can do more stuff with the channel. So that would be greatly appreciated. Anyways, I'll see y'all in game or around and about, and you stay safe out there until next time.